Congratulations. Gork, buddy, you did a great job there. Thank you for that introduction. You know, I cannot tell you how symbolic it is that Gork was here introducing me tonight, because he was the gate starter for my very first BMX race nearly 30 years ago as a 9-year-old. He actually pulled that lever, and the gate went down, and he started it all right there. And it was actually the floodgates is kind of what I think of it as. And I could still hear his chant. It was famous. Everyone knew it. I can still hear it. It went, "Get set, pedals ready anytime," and the gate would drop, and you'd have to pull it every time. You'd have to do that like 100 times for motos. We didn't have any fancy little lights, you know, back then, where you just push a button and the fancy lights go and they drop. It was a manual thing he had to do every time. So thanks, Gork, for this labor I had to make you do up here today as well. So you did a great job. And of course, at that first race nearly 30 years ago, it started all of this. And you know, I'm so lucky to have raced BMX and mountain biking. And my BMX career was when I was younger, from age 9 years old to 15 years old. And then later on in life, when I was an adult, when I was age 24 to 31, is when I raced downhill mountain bikes. So two completely separate careers. And you know, it's amazing to have had both of those. And I'll tell you what, it would be absolutely impossible for me to thank everyone involved in those. So what I'll do is I'll play it really safe, and I'll just say, everyone, you know who you are. Some of you are here tonight, and I'm just going to simply focus on one reason, and one reason only, why I am standing here tonight, and one reason only why I was there at that very first BMX race nearly 30 years ago, and that is because of my family who raised me. My mom, my dad, my older brother, Kent. I don't know how I'm going to get through this speech without crying. So especially my older brother, Kent. In fact, some of you probably know my brother because he was actually a top BMX racer as well back in the day. And unfortunately for him, though, he was more well known as Cheri Elliott's brother. Yeah, he had to carry that around with him. In fact, we would kid around about getting him a T-shirt that said, "Who the heck is Cheri Elliott?" You know. In fact, even today, I think someone asked if I could beat him racing, you know, and that he always got that. But no, I'm saying it on record here, I've never been able to beat him. He's my older brother. So, but that really does correlate, though, with, you know, how this all started with a couple of questions that I'm always asked. It's the biggest mysteries. Is how in the heck did you get to that first BMX race when you were only 9 years old as a little girl in 1980, this obscure sport of BMX racing? And not only that, how in the heck were you already talented on a BMX bike? Well, I'll tell you, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, my older brother, he's 3 years older than me, he started building these little wooden ramps out in our front yard. And we just started flying off of these things. I just wanted to do what he did. You know, and my parents, they were nice enough to just, you know, let us be kids. And we were sprinting up to these things, going as fast as we could. And I tell you, if we had, you know, a video camera back in the mid to late 70s, we'd have the first toddler freestyle BMX documentary. I mean, it was amazing stuff what we were doing. So my brother, as far as I'm concerned, he was training me all my toddler life up until that 9-year-old, you know, race, that very first race. So then the question was, how did I get to that race? You know, and I'll tell you, most people don't realize this, but I had no clue I was going to this first BMX race because my family knew it was hard to get me to try new things. So they'd have to do it the sneaky way. So, you know, we just threw the bikes in the Blazer. I thought we were going to a little picnic or something. And so we start driving, heading out in the middle of nowhere in Prairie City, Folsom area. And suddenly we drive up on this area where there's all these cars parked around this dirt track. We're driving up. You know, I'm 9 years old. I'm a little curious. I'm like, And so we park, start unloading the bikes, and my brother starts gearing up, and he says, "Hey, Cheri, you want to come try this BMXing?" And I said, no. No, thanks, I'm good. And he said, Mom and Dad are like, "Oh, come on, you know, give it a try." I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, okay, well, he goes up and he practices once, and he comes back and reports back to me. And he says, "Now, Cheri, you know, I know you're really going to like it." And I was just like, so my family knows how to negotiate, though, with me, right? You know, I'm this 9-year-old stubborn little girl, and they said, "How about this, Cheri? Why don't you just go on the track one time? Just one time, and if you don't like it, don't do it. It's all right, no worries." I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I head up, and I go around, and I come back. And sure enough, even though I was scared, I said, okay, you know, I'll give it a shot. And so a couple hours later, there I am, I'm on my first BMX start gate. I'm nervous as heck. I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm cursing my family. I'm 9 years old. My adrenaline's going. You know, Gork's getting ready to sound off his gate chant. Now, I'm 9 years old, right? And I'm racing, unfortunately, the 9 and over girls for my very first BMX race. And, you know, so half the girls are bigger than me, and half of them have these fancy uniforms on and shiny bikes. You know, they're looking all decked out. Me, I had a paper plate for a number plate. You know, my bike was about to fall apart. It was an old heavy Huffy, you know, and I had like these ripped up jeans, I think with the duct tape even for the chain not to get caught in the, you know, in the pants. And so there I was, intimidated as heck, getting ready to go off, and I don't want to be there. I'm never going to do this again. And Gork says, "Get set, pedals ready anytime," and the gate dropped. And my life changed forever at that moment. It was amazing. So I did go on and win that race, that very first race, amazingly enough. And my brother did as well, and my family, we just jumped into this beautiful sport of BMX racing. It is the most amazing sport ever. I would highly recommend it to anyone who has a family to try to get in this sport. It is absolutely fabulous. So everything that followed after that, kind of the things you heard on there, and you see all the radical style and blazing the trail for women, all these things, I could never have done it without the support of my family. It would have been absolutely impossible. I mean, just, you know, as soon as we jumped into the sport, BMX, you know, we lived on this half-acre, beautiful landscape, beautiful garden. We got into BMX, we bulldozed all that down and put a BMX course. You know, I mean, you know, it's fabulous. So me and my brother, we were able to practice on this track all the time, you know, and my brother, he was 3 years older than me. He didn't give me any slack, you know. He would bump me off the berm and do whatever, so it was easy when I had to race people my age. You know, and so it was easy to go race the boys. So, and all that style that you see, the getting big tabletops, things like that. You know, I remember my brother and I wanted to just build one big jump on our BMX course just so we could practice that high flying style, and which was considered really dangerous back then. But do you think our parents said, "No, no way"? All they said was, "How high do you need that jump?" So we also had a. You know, one of my favorite stories is when I turned 13 years old, I had to go away for a BMX race, only to find out when I come back for my birthday, my dad and my brother hand-built me a 7-foot freestyle quarter-pipe ramp in the backyard. I mean, they painted it red, white, and blue, put "Happy Birthday, Cheri" on it. I mean, this is extraordinary support to think about your little sister and your little, you know, little daughter doing this. I mean, the vision they had and the trust they had in my abilities, so I never could have done any of this without them. So, you know, at age 15, you know, I retired at that old age of 15 for BMX. And I went on, obviously, later on in life. After college, I went and did downhill mountain biking. And I never would have experienced any of those things in downhill mountain biking if it wasn't for that foundation of support from my family in that first years of BMX. So, kind of in summarizing all this up, I mean, it truly would have been impossible for my cycling career to be anything but extraordinary because of the extraordinary support of my family. That's tough for me to say without losing it. And this award, I dedicate it to them. And this award, I thank a Hall of Fame again for this award, and it is definitely up there in the biggest grand of things I've ever experienced in my careers. But I'll tell you what, all those grand things, they have to take just a close second to the biggest honor in my cycling career, and that will just always be to be Kent Elliott's little sister. Thank you.